I'm Al Casteen. I'm here from Smithfield, Virginia. We and 9 other fools, fellows, drove our cars here. 6 of us from Virginia, 1 fellow from Alabama, and then we picked up 2 other fellows in New Mexico. They got to reading about us. I've been typing since December 31st of last year. I started this thread. We knew we were coming, or we were planning to come ever since last summer. And the impetus behind the whole travels were, we had this little booklet that was, I can't find, oh yeah, I can. This little booklet was written in the form, not as a booklet, but as just an email. And we passed it around to everybody. In the email, and I shared it with my wife since it was so hilarious. So my wife says, "Oh, that's really neat. Why don't you go?" I said, "Well, honey, I never asked about going because I thought my hall pass would run out before I could get back." She said, "Well, if you want to go, go." Well, that's all I needed. I turned on my heel and went down to my office and pulled out my map software, and I'm plotting the course and having fun. And I came up with a course, and I called the guy who was the driver on this thing, and to see if my course was remotely correct. He says, "That's the way I went." I said, "Oh." He said, "Are you going?" I said, "Probably not, but we're going to have a lot of fun pretending that we are." And the guy said, "Okay." He said, "Well, if you go, I want to go with you." And I said, "Dickie, the way you drive, there's no way. They don't call you Turbo Dickie for nothing." He's the one came out here in 3.5 days. I'll get back to Turbo Dickie in a minute. That's Dickie. So I have another of my fellow club members in the Portsmouth Street Rod Association. We've been around since 1974, by the way. I even have a banner here somewhere. I'm hoping I remember to get out and show everybody. But called one of my long-term club members and said, "George, I'm thinking of driving to Los Angeles to the ROADSTER show." He said, "I'm in." He had just bought a 39 Cabriolet. Should I take these glasses off or leave them on?
You're good.
Okay. And so suddenly we got another guy. And then we're at breakfast a week later with the usual crowd. And I mentioned that I just might be foolish enough to try to drive out here. And lo and behold, another guy says, "I'm in, I'll go." I said, "Great, that's wonderful." His car's a few cars down. So then we started rounding up co-pilots and so forth. I got my good co-pilot here, Shadow. We call him Shadow because he's always there. And so we had that lined up. And in the course of writing of this on the when we started, I called another friend of mine who he'd planned to drive out here any number of times, and every time at the last minute it fell apart. And he was so, including that last year. I said, "Jack, what are you worried about? This is going to fall apart too. You don't have to, it's just going to be, we're just pretending." Jack says, "Well, in that case, maybe I can go." So, long story, we got that going on, and then some fellas in New Mexico is following us on the ham, and they're like, "We're reading about your memories. You're making memories, and we're jealous. We want to make some too." I said, "Fine, more the merrier." So we picked them up in Zuzax, downtown Zuzax, New Mexico, and they were kind enough to have provided these fine shirts that are stamped front and back. Even got the end on the back of one of them. So that's our group. Now, as far as the group and the names and all that business, well, Jack, we call him Scout because he wanted to leave a day early. "Okay, Scout, you go ahead, mark the trail. Use yellow paint, put it in the middle, we'll find it." So, and then next thing I know, Scout's going to leave 2 days early. I said, "I didn't know your car was that slow." Well, that got a little things going on. But anyway, so Scout had a friend named Ron Hickman down in Alabama. And Ron is a real veteran. He is a veteran driver. He's been all over. He drives them. So he was going to meet up with Jack, and they were coming this way, but not exactly on our route. So we called him the Alabama Scout. That's 2. So that worked out. And remember I was telling you about Dickie and how Dickie had a reputation for getting on down the road? Well, Dickie had a holdup, and he couldn't leave when we left on Thursday morning. He had to leave on Friday morning. 2 days later, Dickie catches us in Tucumare, New Mexico. He comes rolling up. Yeah, that's the place. So there's old Turbo Dickie once again, and he hammered down. And once he caught us, he said, oh, well, now this is no big deal. So we found our way over here. We had another fellow we call Rabbit. That's this red 36 down here. Rabbit likes to roll. And he also likes Cracker Barrels. So he and his co-pilot would roll, find a Cracker Barrel, they'd have to stop. And then we'd go by, and then we'd run down the road, and then, here they come again. There goes Rabbit. And then, but to their credit, most of them would check in with me every now and then, let me know what they were doing. And one of our fellows, it's got a 32, it's got a kind of a flat purple, one he built out of a 5-window coupe. He made it into a little cabriolet. And we call him Point because he likes to leave early. So I just made him Point. So he would, go point the way for us. So that's how we've rolled along and got out here. And it's been a lot of fun. The Almighty was kind enough to bless us with some outstanding mild weather. Apparently the good Lord's patience with us is about done. So things are going to be warming up a little more, but we're going to be going home, we hope. We're going to stay. We've got our tags. We've got our mementos. I went over there and bought a fortune and stuff, but I probably won't be back, so I want to get it all. And we're quite honored, and we're way more than pleased with the reception that the fine fellows at the LA Roasters have given us. Bob Barnes, Ted Cox, those guys have been outstanding over there in the booth. You couldn't have better ambassadors, and they have given us some added benefits, shall we say, that was very generous on their parts, none of which we asked for. I had a few guys that probably would have, but I told them, hey, boys, no. So we're just happy to shake people's hands. I've been saluting about every LA Roadster member comes by, just say thank you. I'm so appreciative that they have held out for 52 years, because if they'd quit last year, I would have never got here. So thank you, one and all, for making this possible for us, and we are truly honored to be here. So is there any other questions you might have? We're leaving to go back to Virginia early Monday morning. We're going to we hope it's early Monday morning, because some of us are planning spending Sunday afternoon drinking some cold stuff out of our brand new pewter mugs. Okay, well, it's a little fumbling around, but if you get on your computer and you type in www.Jalopy Journal, just like it sounds, jalopyjournal.com, you hit enter. It comes up and it has a whole array of things across the top, as they want to do. And somewhere in there, there's a thing that says the ham up at the top. Now, the ham stands for, well, as politely as I can tell you, a hokey but message board. You can figure out what button A and all that stuff works out to be. You click on that, and then it goes to this kind of like forum of discussion. It has a forum there for general discussion. You follow general discussion. And then they have, on the upper left side, there's 3 down pointing arrows. The third one inside does a search for you. If you click on it, it's got a magnifying glass on it, kind of a clue to search, right? Click on that, it comes up. If you'll type in Smithfield and hit enter, chances are you'll find us right away. If that doesn't work, type in Express. I know if you type in Express, because I wasn't smart enough to use Smithfield. Believe that? Can you believe that? Duh. Type in Express, we're about the second one that comes down. You click on it, it's up to about almost, I think it's over or right at 400 different posts that have been made on this thing. And the view count, that, you know, kind of like a measure of interest. When we left, it was 12,000, headed towards 13. Today, it's over 20,000 since last Thursday. Oh, that was our journalist. We called him journalist, Tom Pritchard. Now, Tom Pritchard is a nice guy, and he certainly is a patient guy, and he's got a lot of character, shall we say, and fortitude to ride with Dickie the whole time. And Tom came up with this. He's the only guy out of everybody that said, I'm going out, that backed out. And he came up with this lame excuse that his neighbor, who had sold a business and was fortunate enough to buy a 150-some foot damn gum yacht and have it delivered over in the French Riviera, and he was having 2 weeks paid visiting, you know, and invited his wife, and he said he thought he probably ought to go with Mrs. Pritchard. We thought that probably would be a good idea. So we wrote him an excuse and let him, you know, yeah, well, no, actually, Dickie was telling me at the last minute, Tom was like, maybe I could go. Dickie said, no, we're not going to be there. He said, I love you, but I ain't tangling with the madam. So, is there anything else I can tell you? But Tom Pritchard is the guy who wrote that, who, thanks to Tom and that email and me sharing it with my wife and my lovely wife, and my very supportive wife of, gee, I think it's going to be 46 years. It's 47 years this August. I've been very fortunate and very blessed, and I'm happy. And honey, I love you. Thank you. Well, he's not as fast as I am.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Look, if nobody's going to believe I spoke to you, and I bet you that one of these fellas can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be so jealous.
That's $15.
Yeah.
Man, I sat over at the table, here comes Neil East, another fellow owns the other car.
Wow.
And this morning, one of my gang was so enthused about him that he couldn't hardly talk.
Can I get one of your copies? Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
See that cell number? Add the word 25 in there.
All right, I will. I'll do it right now. Thank you.
Throughout the United States or in Europe, Australia, Canada. And we do it every Saturday. I do the videos.
Don't lose any good stuff. You can't lose good stuff. That looks like a familiar one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to write in on the cell number 25.
Okay.
You know that name
And this number, my son changed it foolishly. And, okay, so just call the cell number if you need me.
All right. Is this your email here?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I'll send you the link that all you got to do is touch it. Click. And you can go read all the foolishness that we have been saying for the last 6 months.
And give your friend this too. Some people won't believe it.
That'll make his day. It certainly has made my whole trip. What is it? All of you fellas. Y'all treated us
Thanks a million, yeah.
very well, and we're so honored. See, here's my trip. Here's the route and everything. I got the stops marked off. What's going to be hard is driving back.